Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Mick. Right, tonight, what is Generation X? What is Generation X? Very interesting. Generation X is supposedly my generation, as far as I understand, the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Well, I was born in the 60s, mid-60s. So I'm knocking on a bit now, but still a bit of energy left. Right, so what is so special about the Generation X? First thing is, we're the last generation to walk around without a mobile phone. If we wanted to see our friends, we'd actually walk around to their house. That's where they live, and knock on the door. That's the big square thing. And we'd actually go into the house and stop in the house. And we'd sit down and talk to each other. And we'd look at each other. We wouldn't be looking at a phone because we didn't have one. If you were really lucky, when you were about 16, you had a calculator. You know, before that, we literally had little beads that ran across on an abacus when we were at school counting. So you had to do everything up here. So, right. So that's one of the biggest differences. We didn't have mobile phones. Even today, people say, Mick, have you got your phone on you? And I'll go, I don't know what I'm doing with the phone. I use it to make a phone call. That's about it, really. Right. Okay. The second thing about Generation X is we are quite hardy. So we tend to survive everything else, which I don't think youngsters nowadays would go. They go, oh, no, I can't do that. No, you wouldn't do that. So you've got to understand that. You've got to work on the principle that we had what we call push bikes. Now, if you're lucky, you had a chain on your push bike, so you could pedal it. But sometimes you had to push your bike. One of the great... I remember that one of the most famous things was having different size wheels on your push bike to make it look different. And the amount of time you pop a wheelie and the front wheel would drop out and roll off. And then you keep it up as long as you can because you know it's going to hurt when it comes down. Now, if you went over the handlebars and rolled and you cut yourself open, you didn't complain. You got up, you spat on it, you rubbed yourself down, and you got on with it. You just got your wheel, stuck it back in, and carried on riding your push bike. If you went camping, everyone's going to go, oh no. So, right, camping does not mean what it means nowadays, right? If I'm going camping, it means I'm going to have a tent. If I'm lucky, I'm going to have a tent, a sleeping bag, or a woolen blanket, and you'd have a couple of some matches with you, and you'd have your penknife. Now, your penknife is not for offensive use. It's a tiny little penknife. You've seen Swiss Army knives. That's all you could get, really. Swiss Army knife, and it's a tool. It literally was used as a tool. You'd make feather sticks and things like that to actually light a fire with, or you'd use it for your fishing, or when you're going camping, normally next to a river, you'd fish for your dinner. So you'd catch a fish out of the river, and then you would gut it there and eat it. Could cook it and eat it. So you'd have to make your own fire. Not this gas rubbish. Yeah, you'd literally have to get some sticks and make a fire. And then if you didn't have a tent, then you could get a fertiliser bag. Most people my age remember the fertiliser bag. You cut them down and you can make a tent out of it. So it's waterproof, that's it. You can also use it for sledging as well. If you couldn't afford a sledge, you get some hay, ram it into there, use it as a seat, and that made a fantastic thing, that did. Fantastic times with fertiliser bags. Never used to lick them though. Ooh, horrible. Now, same time, you're down at the river. You've got your fertiliser bag. You've got your fire going. You've caught your little trout or your fish from the river. You're gonna have that for your tea. You take your own water. We used to take our own water or a tin of pop or something like that. If you were lucky, if you were rich, you got a tin of pop. Otherwise, we council tap water, council tap pop. Right. And then, if you're going to have a wash, you go in the river. If you need a toilet, you go in the river. But if you need to have a wash as well, you go in the river. You go swimming in the river. Now, I remember, even today, some places haven't changed. They're still like that. brilliant when you see it. I remember going up north, because obviously my family not originated, but my father was a Geordie, or Northumbrian, he'd call himself, about 100 miles up from Newcastle. So we'd go up there for regular holidays and everything, and I was off to my Uncle Eric's. That's another story, but off to my Uncle Eric's on farm as soon as I got there. I was driving tractors about 3 or 4, something silly like that. I know at 4 years old I was out on deep sea fishing boat. So without any flotation device or anything like that, so my mother complained about that one. But what I'm saying is that even up there today, me and one of my sisters went up and she saw the kids jumping off Amble Bay. That went to Amble, where my uncles had boat, and they were jumping off the dock, the quayside. And she's going, "Oh, you won't be doing that." And that's how I was brought up. That's exactly how I was brought up. I'm something like mad, aren't I, tonight? Right. So that's the way that is. Yeah. So that's what we would do for fun. Now, what we'd also do for fun. Now you have parkour. I think it's called parkour. I think I said that right. Where they're jumping off buildings and doing rolls and everything like that. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic for the guys who do that. Very, very daring. Very daring. Now, our version of that was you'd borrow your dad's push bike. Or your granddad's push bike. It was probably made about 1940. And then you'd go up to the top of the road, and then you get all your mates, they'd all be down on playfield. We're posh in our village, we had a playfield. It were flat. They didn't plough it. Anyway, and we had a couple of swings there. But then we'd get some bits of board, and we'd make a wooden ramp. So the lads at the top of the road, he'd come down flying as fast as he can with the push bike, and you all lay down behind this ramp. Now, if you're unfortunate and you're the last two in the queue, you could get a push bike hitting you about 60 miles an hour because he hasn't caught enough air, as you call it. But you'd work out, as soon as you hit that ramp, you could work out straight away, is he going to land on me or not? And if you know he's going to land on you, you're trying to get out as quick as you can. But then he'd land, and if he managed to miss everybody, the amount of times the front wheel used to buckle in two, and he used to be catapulted off into the middle of the field. Now, he'd come back all scratched and bruised and battered. I think a couple of lads had broken arms at one point as well. But you never used to complain. He'd go home and he'd say, "Mum, I broke my arm." Da, 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 da. They'd take him to hospital. And then you come back and he'd do the same thing once you've got another spare wheel and your dad's not giving you cane. Right, so that's what we used to do for a laugh. So quite brave. We used to walk up anything any higher, anything like that. We'd be up there. You climb trees and everything like that. But now kids just seem to sit there with a little computer box and like that. That's not really good. So, but yeah. So for those with kids, get them out in the parks, get them climbing trees. So if they fall out, they'll bounce. Well, we did. Right, so that's that one. And then another about Generation X is actually what I was going on about. It's our mentality, our way of thinking about things. If you saw an old lady crossing a road, we wouldn't try mugging her. We'd actually stop the traffic and help her across the road. Now, this is where you've got to look at. When you see, it's no good blaming somebody else if your kid comes home with this really bad attitude towards life. It's you who have to bring them up. They're copying you. So if you're helping old people cross the road, fine. They will get that and they should do the same. Now, remember that whatever you pass on in life, that's exactly what they're going to do when they're going to pass on. So if they're getting bad mannered and everything like that, pulling knives on and everybody like that, how do you think their kids are going to be? You have to stop it now. Yeah, there is too much. If you want to call it wokeism, whatever you want to call it, I don't call it wokeism. I call it bad manners. And if I did wrong, now I'm sorry, but if I did wrong, if a policeman caught me doing something, right? For instance, when I was later in life, but I was still a youngster. Now I had a motorbike. Now me and the lads, we wanted to go out and we'd go 6-7 miles away. Now I know it's very dangerous, but we wanted to go. So rather than walk, we'd all get on the motorbike. We looked like the White Helmets display team. There'd be 7 of us. And we're hanging off at different angles like this, trying to hang on. And we go and do these things. Now, if the coppers caught us, they weren't like... We did have respect for the police at that point. We did have respect for the police. If they caught us and said, we've got you, they'd give us a telling off, maybe a clip round the head, and they might take the names and everything like that, say, if we catch you again, we're going to your house. Now, they know that if we go to our house, we're going to get... My father's going to take belt off. They're going to give me a smack round back of the head for that one and ground me or something like that. So we respected them from that. Now they don't respect them. But then the police now are not doing that either. They're going, right, we're going to take you to court and let's storm on it and everything like that. So it's both ways. It's not working there. So that's got to be changed. I've always been brought up to respect the police, but I've had a couple of run-ins with them. Don't get me wrong. I haven't been a good lad all my life. And I've learnt that some of them are worse than me. So some of them I wouldn't give respect to because of how they are with the public. I was taught, I'm an ex-soldier as well, so I would always help everyone as much as possibly can. But some of these guys walking around, no, they're on a power trip, massive power trip, and they need to calm it down because that's how you earn respect. Respect is not given, it's earned. Right. That's that lesson out of the way. Right. Second of all, at school, what we like for time. Okay, school first. That's what I'd also like to cover. Got 3 minutes to do. School kids at school. You're supposed to respect your teachers. Not pull knives on them, not fight with them, spit at them, throw bricks at them, smash your cars or whatever. No, that's not what they're there for. They're there to learn you. But at the same point, those teachers are passing on information which is going to help you have a better life. Now, if you don't want to do that, then you basically you're going to have a crap life. That's what it is, basically. That's in a nutshell. All these drag queens going to schools and things like that, I don't know all of it, what it's about and everything like that. The only time I saw a drag queen when I was at school was when I used to go to the pantomimes at Christmas. Brilliant. They're behind you and we'd all cheer and everything like that. It was nothing weird or anything like that, the whole thing. So we enjoyed it because of that. I do think that we're trying to children should be left for children to be given their time as a child. Not that's it, you're 5 years old, you're going to be an adult. If you want to play that game, let's go back to Victorian times when at 7 and 8 year old even, at definitely older than that, because my father started work at 14 down the pits. And I had pictures of him somewhere with pit ponies working down the pits at 14 years of age. If you want to start making kids adults, then that's what you're talking about. That's what we've got out of. So stop. We've decided the children need to be children. Let them be children. Don't make them grow up too quickly. It's the time that you'll see your child and they'll be happy. They don't need their mind mixed up with weird and wonderful ideas. Just take it literally day to day. Now, when you get old, you have similarities with small children. So we have to get up to the toilet quite often. We actually sit there and moan, groan and cry quite a lot. And pretty much life is like... Ugh. But every day, with certain things happen, every day you get up and you thank goodness that you've got another day on this planet. We're not here for a long time. We don't own the planet. We are here, living on the planet. We have no rights to it. Let's respect the planet. But more than that, let's start respecting each other. That's what's missing from Great Britain. Bring back the respect for each other. Everyone in this country should be welcome. But don't think if you see me other one, don't think I'm advising people coming in from other countries. No, we need to sort our own house out first of all. We have a lot of people on the streets that need to be sorted out, that need to be helped. That's where respecting each other comes in handy. For other people coming in for different nationalities, different countries and everything like that, if you want to come here, you should be amalgamating. You should be intermingling with everybody to make it a happy country. It isn't a happy country at the moment, and I believe that the doors should be shut for the time being until we can get our own house in order, and then we'll look at other people. So, well, that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to go too much on that. I hope you've stuck with me. If you want to tell your friends about me, join in, subscribe, push the buttons, do what you want to do. Most people only last 2 minutes anyway, so you've done really well. Right, take it easy. Night night.